Poor Perrito the mosquito, Albie.
I know, poor you.
You saw that there was rain, right?
So you got to listen to your awesome windshield wiper sound all the way to
That's
Connecticut.
exactly right. The windshield wiper sound was horrific. Not all the way, but for a while. It was just it's a bizarre ride from Connecticut, from Boston to Connecticut and back. There was a guy messing with somebody else near the Connecticut border, a guy in a small sedan holding up a truck who was beeping, who was honking, had the thing pulled. Bizarre.
It's not
But
bad. What podcast did you listen to on the road?
actually, the whole time was Kirk
Oh,
Minahan, and then I just started listening to commentary once I got here, and then I just threw on Tucker for a moment because we're later than usual. But it's interesting. You know what happened with on Kirk's? Dave effing Cullinane used as his own commentary, word for word, my tweets about the golf course people.
really?
Oh yeah, it is such a big timey, like thuggish thing to do.
Wow.
But yeah, it is his own completely. But so it's interesting watching Tucker Carlson here. Did we talked about? We must have talked about student loan forgiveness yesterday, right? Because I talked about it for 84 hours today. Today on the radio.
I don't know if we specifically talked about it yesterday. I think we talked about it like Sunday on our 500th show. I think that's when
Okay,
we talked about it.
because
But just
Warren.
in general, I don't think, yeah, because of Liz Warren. But we didn't talk about it since Biden has apparently told some people in the Hispanic caucus that he's thinking of forgiving a bunch of people's debt.
Right. And it's so, it really is a truly desperate thing to do. Because, like, as we've said before, and what you're doing is you're going to give checks to some people who have gotten their degrees and are doing really well. And not only that, what you're doing is you're making a less privileged part of America who didn't go to college pay the college tab for a more privileged part of America who did go to college.
Right.
It's like I can't imagine. And I'm sorry, I was talking to Todd about this today, and he thinks that it's last moment attempt in an election year to buy an election, and there's no doubt that that's certainly.
Oh, yeah.
But you know that kind of politics, Liz Warren politics, her constituency, they're affluent and they're progressive.
And they have college debt.
Well, they have college debt, but they also didn't give Liz Warren a primary victory over anybody in particular. So, like nationally, the Warren constituency, who now Biden is trying to do the bidding for, ain't big.
Yeah, no, this isn't a big group of people that feel this way about the country. And Liz Warren, I mean, I think that she did everything that you can do to win that progressive group. She's like the equivalent of Hermione Granger in the Harry Potter books, who like needs to check every box and like get every homework answer right and get an A. Like she actually put out an actual like Medicare for all plan with an actual plan of how to pay for it. And like, I mean, it was terrible, but that's just not popular when you actually like fill in all the details like that. Do you know what I mean? Like she did
Right.
everything that you're supposed to do, where she gave all the details of all the stuff and she said all the talking points that you're supposed to say. She did everything right? Like she hit every progressive thing and got 100% on the test, and not enough voters wanted that.
Well, right. And I think one of the reasons is because the only organic populist who's really in about socialist is Bernie.
Right.
He's the real thing.
But
they're
people
not
don't
getting behind him.
necessarily. Right. People don't necessarily like Bernie Sanders
Right.
for
He
his
doesn't comb his hair,
policies
and he's
per
not.
se.
Right. But yeah, he's unkempt and he's weird and he's wacko. But he was. If there were justice, he'd be the guy who would have gotten the nomination.
He could have gotten it this last time in 2020 too.
Yeah. No, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. But the party hates him. So That's just that. But I just don't think this
I
idea.
mean, I think that's a plus for a lot of people, to be fair.
Sure, but I mean, but Biden. It is so divisive. It's just interesting that he doesn't. There's no third way for this administration. There's no thinking. There's no way that is a any kind that provides any kind of unity to. I mean, there's no. For instance, Donald Trump signed into law the First Step Act, which is
Right.
criminal justice reform. That is for a Republican incredibly in a revolutionary thing to do. But he worked with Democrats, and he never got any credit for it. But the, he was willing to do it. Trump could be influenced by people,
Oh,
and
of
maybe
course. Trump would, if he thought it would have made him a popular, beloved president, he would have worked with anyone and passed anything and signed it.
right.
He didn't care who it was or what the law was that he was signing. Like, it was just all about, he just wanted to be a winner and wanted to be popular and wanted to be the best president ever. And, at the beginning, when Democrats were sort of willing to work with him a bit, I mean, he did some of that stuff.
Were they?
The criminal justice reform then.
Yeah, I guess so.
So they were willing to try and get some stuff done with him. He would have done like more in 2020, even like more giving out checks to people as long as he got to take credit for it, if the Democrats really wanted to do that stuff. Don't you think?
Yes. So here's the other thing. So there's that. That's the college stuff. Let's watching Tucker tonight.
We actually got an email, sorry, before we move off the college thing, we got an email on this too from someone, which was just a really great, I thought, message that I thought somebody was saying. Hang on, I can't find it here now. Okay, here it is. This is from Kevin. He says, congratulations on 500 episodes of the Burn Barrel podcast. I started listening last August when I asked my dad for a political podcast recommendation that was similar to the Dan Crenshaw podcast, and he recommended the Burn Barrel, saying it was run by a local couple and would deliver current events news while at the same time saying Tom was hilarious to listen to.
Oh, excellent. Thank you, sir.
Then he says he feels he can offer a unique point of view on the issue of the student loans, being a part of the millennial generation. Like other millennials, I didn't think hard enough about what degree to get before going to college, so I decided to get a film and communications degree.
Oof.
After college, I quickly realized that my degree meant nothing and that experience was worth more than any fancy degree. After not sure what to do with my life for about 2 years after college, I was lucky enough to land an engineering job, which got me to go back to school to get an engineering degree.
There we go.
The biggest thing I learned is that fancy, overpriced liberal arts schools are the biggest waste of time, while state colleges are a much better deal. Currently, I work full-time and do online school at night. Too many people don't understand how convenient and useful online school is, not to mention how much cheaper. If more people took advantage of online school over the traditional college experience, we'd have more people working full-time while in school, which could help keep student debt down. Personally, I think online school should be pushed much more as a college alternative.
Right. But, the only thing that you don't get there is you don't get fancy elite networking.
You don't get to drink all the time.
Well, you could, but you know what?
I guess but although not if you're working full time, it's hard to do a job.
Right. I should take that back a little bit because I don't know. Maybe you do get some kind of networking. There are obviously these people can talk to each other now more than ever.
Well, and like I was saying, there's places like that Lambda school that teaches coding, and they'll help you get a job.
But for many people, college, like we've said, you come from Lexington, Mass. I come from Winchester, Mass. College is brand enhancement. That's what it is. Little Johnny is at Duke, is what you say, and you feel good about it. If Duke's a good school, I don't even know. I think it is, right?
I think so, yeah.
Tom, this is your Grubhub driver, Christine. I'm on your way to your location. Now, I put in the thing 30% already, so I don't have to have cash for Christine, right?
Yeah, if you put in 30%, that should be fine.
Good. Okay, good. Maybe I'll have Christine on the show.
Oh, good. But I'm sure she'll love that. I know that people in low-wage jobs love to be forced into doing things.
Have a fat guy tell them to come into the hotel room is always what they're looking forward to. Yeah.
I bet that's why Christine became a Grubhub delivery driver in hopes that somebody would discover
I'm
her
sure
latent podcasting
to
talent.
be honest, Alice, I'm sure she's got a bunch of gigs. These people have lots of gigs around. And if believe me, I think about Instacart sometimes. Like, I like grocery stores. I like walking around there. I'm weird that way. I could do that in a second. Who's the emailer? What's his name?
That was Kevin.
So that's a way. That's, I think, a good story of somebody who organically made the recalibration to get into the right thing.
Well,
Although
I
I'm sure
know,
the
but
film classes were awesome.
right. But it's also like it's unfair to Kevin and the other Kevins of the world that nobody told them this in advance, that he had to spend 2 years worth of time and money and energy doing something that he didn't
Leave
ultimately
Kevin's
feel
dad
that he wanted
alone.
to do.
Kevin's dad
I
is a
no,
good
I
kid,
like Kevin's dad. I like Kevin's dad, but I blame like school guidance counselors and everybody like that who's saying like, no, do this, do that, who's like pushing people to do stuff that's not in their best interest, you know? And I'm
Right.
sure, like, I don't even necessarily blame the parents because this is like what the schools and what everybody's telling you that you have to do if you want your kid to get ahead in life and you want them to be happy and all this stuff, right? Like, it's pushed so much by the schools and the guidance counselors and everybody telling you that, like, for your kid to have a chance in life, you have to do X, Y, and Z, right?
Correct.
The
Correct.
pressure is enormous. What are you focusing on? Is Christine here?
Yeah, no, I'm just texting her back saying, okay, great, right?
I guess so, yeah.
And sending a selfie. And
Oh, good.
teddy bear emojis. That's
Okay.
right?
That's what she wants to see, I think. That's good. Okay, what did you order, by the way? I'm going to critique your order now.
Oh, I'm glad you asked me that question, Alice, because it was expensive. Do you see the
I didn't look in the past few minutes at the charges, so I don't know.
I'm glad you asked me that question because let's get into that now. I ordered from Andy's Italian Kitchen. I ordered the seafood portofino, which is essentially scallops and shrimp and some mussels or something on pasta with white sauce. And I know I'm a fat, and unfortunately, in this hotel, I'm looking at a mirror and looking at me. Somehow I got a fourth-degree sunburn in my fat head. Looks like
How
the
did
actual
you get sunburned? You don't even go outside.
I got sunburned through the car windshield.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought it was raining.
It was. Alice, I have really good genes is the answer, okay? I have winter genes that hopefully will be zeroed out soon. And I got some wings just in case, although I don't know what'll happen, but I'm trying to anyway, but it's $55, dude. So, but we're rich now, right?
I mean, not that rich.
But we got our federal refund?
Yeah, but it wasn't that big because they gave us a bunch of it up front too, remember?
Oh, dang it.
I know.
Because I'm going clubbing later.
And we're going to owe the state of Massachusetts too.
I don't want to hear it.
Okay. Good times. We already paid the state of Connecticut everything we owe them. So we've made all good life choices, I think, that we pay income tax in 2 high tax states. I think that's perfect.
So here's my thing. I talked to Michael Graham the other day, and he was like, he has no home because there's no home really for the conservative movement, essentially. He has no political home anymore. And there's a bunch of people who feel that way.
Right.
It's actually Graham's his age group, although I'm closer to Jonah's age, Goldberg's age, I think, than Graham is, etc. His cohort doesn't have a home. And so I'm watching Tucker Carlson tonight, and he's talking about the Kevin McCarthy stuff with the new tape showing that Kevin McCarthy was saying mean stuff about Matt Gaetz, etc. And Tucker slammed Matt Gaetz for being a hack and a half-ass whatever, this, that,
well, and for trying to drag him into his legal drama.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I take that back. Tucker slammed Kevin McCarthy.
Oh, okay.
For being a hack and being terrible and this and that. And then brought in Matt Gaetz to help pummel Kevin McCarthy. Which is obviously feeding the Trump voters.
Right.
because well, the what Matt Gaetz is saying, and Matt Gaetz obviously leans into cars like no other. Well, like some others, like MTG and Bobert and whatever, etc. Um, and and the Cawthorn, who again tried to bring a gun onto a plane, which is great. That's a great look. Uh,
And then he turns around and blames the media too, like this is a smear campaign against like no, you brought the gun on the plane, not the media.
yeah, but I mean, there are yeah, there's obviously I'll take all of those people over the Democrats,
Of
but
course.
there was a
There are
time when
idiots.
yeah, but there were also like the, there were a time when the superstars were also super interesting. When when Rand Paul, first hit the scene, he was a young superstar and he was interesting. When Marco Rubio hit the scene, he was a young superstar and he was kind of interesting too. It's like now the superstars, the media, at least the Fox News superstars, are no longer the most interesting. But
Well,
anyway,
DeSantis is
so like
good.
what?
DeSantis is good. He's a superstar, I would say.
Well,
And he's
but he's not in
interesting.
Washington.
That's true, but he gets invited on Fox News. He's not like persona non grata in the Republican Party.
Right, but he's also not necessarily been validated yet as a possible candidate. I mean, he's gonna if Trump will Bigfoot him if he tries to get into the race, and
I
he's not
think
going to get into the race.
2024 is still a ways away. I really do. I mean, Trump is not a young guy. I know he acts like he is, but he's just not. Like, and look at Biden. Like, you saw what a difference it made the 1 year between him being on the campaign trail and being president. Like, he's a different guy than he was even in 2019.
Yeah, let's listen to Biden. By the way, and now I feel like a jerk, Alice, because like this. Tom, this is your drop up driver, Christine. I'm on your way. And I said, okay, great response. I get the feeling that like millennials and zillennials don't respond to that. I get the feeling Christine did not send me a text.
You could just respond with like a thumbs up emoji. I'm big on the thumbs up emoji.
Well, I just think that Christine didn't really send me. I assume one, her name's not if it's a her, it's not Christine. Two, they wouldn't give me some stranger's phone number.
Yeah, probably. It's probably not her real number. I don't know how that works, but
I
I would
assume it's just
assume.
the feds. All right, so let's go to this audio here. Thank you for your patience. We're in a hotel room. Hold on. Okay, we're in a hotel room here, and
Does that
give
make
me
it
one.
hard to play audio in the hotel room?
The internet's not just hugely fast.
Oh.
This is Joseph Robinette Biden today saying again. Now he's using the Terry McAuliffe playbook. I don't get it. I'm almost angry because I feel like if I was running his campaign or at least in his administration, I would know what to do, but they're doing this.
You've heard me say it many times about our children, but it's true. They're all our children. And the reason you're the teachers of the year is because you recognize that. They're not somebody else's children. They're like yours when they're in the classroom.
Ugh.
Yeah, no, they're not your children. They're my children. Sorry.
Right.
Like, why do Democrats go with that talking point when it immediately gets up the hackles of every parent that exists on the earth? Like, when you hear a stranger saying they're not your kids, they're my kids, like that, it's the worst possible talking point. It's the opposite of effective. It makes people hate you when you say that.
Right, because the sentiment that, oh, I see, they love the child as well, has far been now overwritten with what we've seen, which is clandestine teacher grooming and indoctrination sessions, and proudly, declaring, that they're going to indoctrinate your kid and then teach your kid stuff that you don't want them to learn, or secretly share your child's gender journey behind your back. It's crazy, and people see this. Like this story in Connecticut with this nurse who was a whistleblower who said there are a bunch of teachers administrators working with 10 or so kids behind the backs of the parents working on their gender transition. That is freaking nuclear offensive that is happening.
Yeah, it is. It's a problem. I mean, or the school district, the Ludlow School District in Mass, where the parents are suing because 2 of their kids, the school convinced they were trans and were calling them different names behind their parents' back. While the parents are seeking mental health care for their kids and have specifically asked the schools not to get involved in their children's mental health at this point. I mean, like, it's incredible the level of presumption in the school districts and not even like teachers. In the case of the Ludlow School District, the teacher was the whistleblower, like the nurse was the whistleblower in this other one, right? It's these like administrators who've all gone to like way too much college and gotten way too many woke degrees.
Oh,
Who
totally.
decided it's not the nice teacher like that you remember from your childhood, your first grade teacher in the classroom who's decided that they now own your children. It's some person who calls themselves doctor something who is, has a bajillion graduate degrees and all kinds of woke junk and nothing real, who's decided that they own your children. That's the people that are the problem. It has nothing to do with teachers.
Oh.
If you look at like school budget figures, the number of teachers has like stayed stable, or even like the number of teachers per kid has gone down over time. And it's like the administrations have exploded. It's crazy. It's out of control. And like they have nothing to do all day. So they just invent new social experiments to do on your children.
Yeah, and that's the same in colleges as well. There are the same number for professors stays static. Meanwhile, the number of administrators is absolutely and totally through the roof. Okay, this is your Grubhub driver, Christine. I have arrived. Do I go to the door?
I don't know. Is she outside the hotel, or do you have to go to the front desk?
I'm not sure. I'm going to go to the door.
Okay, you go to the door. Meanwhile, I'm going to fill you in because the other big news that's happening right now is that it was broken in a congressional hearing today, I guess. Mayorkas said that they have set up in the government, coincidentally nothing to do with Elon Musk buying Twitter. I assume that they've dropped this bombshell news, but they've set up a disinformation governance board to tackle misinformation in minority communities ahead of the 2022 midterms. So they're very concerned that that minority communities in particular are getting a lot of misinformation leading up to the election. So they've set up a new department of the Department of Homeland Security, this disinformation governance board to tackle misinformation. I guess because I guess it could be a foreign agent putting the disinformation out there. But of course, they don't really care about it being foreign people's disinformation. They're coming for your disinformation. And the lady that they've put in charge with it, this Nina Yankowicz, I guess.
Right.
I don't know how to say her name. She's a Russian disinformation expert. She's going to head up the new board. So she's one of these people who's tweeted nonstop about how Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation and was not real. She called the laptop a Trump campaign project and said it's not valid. She told NPR last week she shudders to think about Elon Musk having Twitter because of the free speech that will happen. But she's been on every woke internet thing. She has a whole book out about how hard it is to be a woman on the internet.
Oh, great.
Yeah, her book is called, let me see if I can find it again. I just had it. But yeah, she has a whole book about being a woman on the internet. And it's all about trolls and how they mansplain to you and it's so rude of them or whatever. And this is the person who's now in charge of the Biden Disinformation Homeland Security Board that we have no idea what it does, but Mayorkas has just told us it exists today. So we're just definitely not supposed to be concerned about that at all. Her book is called How to Be a Woman Online, and it was excerpted in Wired magazine this week, which I'm sure is not part of her general campaign and grift and total coincidence that Wired magazine printed this right before it got announced that she was put on this big board and her book is out and the whole thing, right? It's so gross. So she has this whole piece. This is how navel-gazing and self-centered this woman is. Listen to this excerpt. One of the most surprising phenomena I've encountered since I began making television appearances in 2017 is the sudden proliferation of men in my Twitter mentions. my email inbox, my Instagram, and my Facebook followers and my direct messages. The most innocuous but still unsettling and creepy ones simply follow you in droves on their social media platform of choice after an appearance. I get off the air and within minutes my Facebook or Instagram account is flooded with notifications of man after man after man staring at me from behind their avatars after quietly clicking the follow button.
That's great. Quietly. I love it.
You know, just don't have a social media account if it upsets you when people follow you, okay? Like, I don't know what you want. On Twitter, the platform most aligned with my work, where I have tens of thousands of anonymous followers, I would think nothing of it. But the idea that these men have sought out the personal platforms where I often share images of myself and done so immediately after seeing me on television makes my skin crawl. I can think of a single time when a young woman followed me on Instagram after a TV appearance. She sent me a message to tell me how inspiring she found my commentary. The men, on the other hand, mostly just lurk, sometimes liking long strings of my selfies and binges of scrolling and double tapping. And then she goes on, goes down here with all this stuff. It's helpful to be acquainted with the various incarnations of men before you encounter them, so you do not mistake their initial approach as anything other than bad faith. They burst violently into your mentions and your life like the Kool-Aid man, demanding your attention, hawking opinions that they believe are unarguably, manifestly correct and indispensable. Pay attention to me.
Only hers are, though.
Right. Pay attention to me, they bellow. My opinion matters. The trolls may write differently or lash out differently or become grotesquely fixated on different parts of your appearance or background. But ultimately, what motivates them is engagement with you. This, they hope, will encourage you to finally shut up and make room for their infinitely more worthy thoughts. Then they will get the blue check, the TV appearances, and the bylines. They will curse and block and post hot takes with alacrity and abandon. And in their mind, the internet will praise them for it. Their motivations are undoubtedly repulsive, but I find that humor is a good antidote to troll-induced repulsion. Let's explore the categories of creatures you might encounter in your online adventures. And she breaks them down into like reply guys, the bait and switch guy, the man who can't use Google, the old man who emails you in all caps, anti-feminist Frank. Like, can you imagine writing a whole book about this? By the way, about like how much attention people pay to you on the internet?
Well, yeah. Just imagine that's who they say. Okay, guys, get an internet get an expert. We have this lady.
Oh, I can't.
Mm-hmm. So interesting. Listen to this. So Christine dropped the food off,
Okay.
and then sent me a picture of the food in front of the door.
That's to prove she dropped it off, so you can't call up and say it didn't get to you.
Right. She said, it says delivered. Have a great night. And I get the feeling that that's not actually, she didn't actually type those words, but she did take the picture. And it's funny because she took the picture and she's 4 feet from the door. I guarantee you, she took the picture, sprinted, then hit the thing. Because listen to this. Christine, Alice, because I'm a creep, I've Googled her number. That number does not belong to Christine.
Oh, my goodness. The
That's
plot
correct.
thickens.
That number belongs to a woman named Martha in Chicago. And it is a 312 area code.
Interesting. So they just masked the number with some other random number.
Well, or it's really Martha in Chicago who's now delivering here. But anyway, I shouted down the hall, thank you. And I heard no response. And I assume that's why
she ran away.
That's right. That's why they run away, because they don't want fat guys going, interesting.
Stop bursting into her mentions like the Kool-Aid man, honey.
I know.
She doesn't want you there. You just are after her blue check mark.
Well, there is something to that. I mean, but then again, if you're on Instagram and it's open, your Instagram is a...
How dare they like my photos on Instagram?
Instagram's a photo gallery.
Right.
Of you posing for the users, and you're trying to get big numbers. What a psychotic! Wow, that's great. She's got a job in the White House. That's perfect.
Yeah, and she now has power over whatever we're calling it, the Disinformation Board or whatever it's called. That's now in charge of stopping internet disinformation before the election. This psychopath is running it.
Oh man, I hope some of this stuff will be. I want to see the process made public, where they talk about what's disinformation and what isn't, because that will be crafting.
They're not going to. They only told us it even exists today, and she's said online that she's been working on it for 2 months. So the whole thing's been secret.
Well, I assume as soon as Musk officially takes over, she'll come out with some scalps. But disinformation, unlike misinformation, disinformation is probably in the feeling of Twitter. I'm sorry, in the feeling of the Biden administration is actionable, so they can lean on Amazon servers, et cetera, and say, "Hey guys, let's be a little better about."
Well, right. I mean, they're and this is the risk for Musk. So I sent you. Somebody wrote an opinion piece today, like that Musk won't really buy Twitter, that he'll back out, and he has like $1 billion penalty if he backs out. First of all, so I mean, I don't know if he's going to, but
and also it would be instead of a brilliant marketing coup, which he's pulled off, it would be swallowing a grenade in front of everybody.
Well, right. So I think the thing with it is that what this person was citing was how all these people are going to like push back on Musk trying to make Twitter more free speech. Like these people in Europe have said that they're going to ban Twitter in Europe if he makes it too free speech. And like China might try and crack down on Twitter and like use his Tesla solar panel factories to you have leverage over him to keep Twitter from doing what it's doing, like with Hong Kong or whatever, right? Or, the Apple and Google app stores might not make Twitter available on them anymore, the Amazon servers, right? So like they're sort of pushing, but I get the feeling that with someone like Elon Musk who's doing this for reasons of free speech, right? That doing that is just going to push him to be more determined to make it happen, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, because that was the whole thing. Like, remember he gave all the Starlink stuff to Ukraine to be able to have internet in Ukraine? And then, like, people wanted him to ban, like, Russian propaganda from it. And he was like, no. I'm going to allow the Russian propaganda on the Ukraine Starlinks because I'm pro-free speech. And that's how this works. Like, open communication. So, I mean, I think he really believes it. And I think that pushback from the government or from the Apple and Google app stores or whatever, like I think that will only make him more determined to see it through. I think he's enjoying all the crying at Twitter headquarters too, to be honest with you.
Oh, I think so too. By the way, if we just to get back to the golf thing for a moment, do you want to hear Jimmy Fallon's joke about it?
Sure.
Hey, get this. A family in Massachusetts won $5 million from a lawsuit against a country club after their property was hit with over 600 golf balls. Family was like, when we moved directly next to a golf course, we had no idea this could happen. Every day for 4 years, their Ring doorbell was like, motion detected, motion detected, motion detected. Honestly, this is what happens when you live in a tiny windmill. Do you know what I'm saying?
Huh?
It's like a mini golf windmill, I'm thinking.
Oh, I see. Whoa. Whoa. That's tough.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry. I'm sick of talking about the golf course couple. I think they're...
Okay, well... you know what? Can I play the Libs of TikTok thing just to get back into this again with the man who had a gynecologist appointment to get birth control? Do you mind if I play that, or do you not want to go there?
Sure, go for it. Sure, go for it.
Because
Libs of TikTok, one of the most really important Twitter accounts in the world, in my opinion.
Right.
I had a gynecologist appointment today to get an Explanon implant in my arm. And which is birth control, by the way. And my gynecologist is usually pretty respectful I've only had 2 appointments, but she's respected me as a trans person. Well, today, as I was checking out for my appointment, I was standing right there in front of her, and she starts talking to the woman that's the nurse that's checking me out, and she misgendered me right in front of me. I didn't say anything because it was 10 o'clock in the morning. That's early for me, and
Shocking.
just didn't seem
I
worth it.
know.
Met her my next appointment in 6 months, if I remember.
So if
Why do
you're
all these people not seem to have day jobs? Why?
right,
Why do
and
they
so
all
if
seem to
this
think
is-
10 o'clock is really early in the morning?
but Alice, if this is a biological man,
Woman.
who's
It's a
going to-
biological woman who's turning into a man. That's why
No.
he needs birth control.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
This man,
he's at the
okay.
gynecologist because he thinks he's a woman
Oh.
and he needs, or no, vice versa. He's whatever
He-
I'm saying. It's a girl who's trying to be a guy, but she still needs to go to the gynecologist and get a birth control implant because her body still is under the impression that she's a woman.
Right. And generally, guys don't generally go to the gynecologist.
Right.
And then the
So it
gynecologist,
throws the gynecologist off a little bit.
exactly, the gynecologist, him or herself, is also trans.
No.
Yeah, that's what you said. Hold on, listen.
I had a gynecologist appointment today to get, which is birth control, by the way. Be respectful. I've only had 2 appointments, but she's respected me as a trans person. Well, today,
She respected me as a
as
trans
I was
person.
checking out
No,
for my
I think-
appointment,
no, hold on.
birth control, by the way, and my gynecologist is usually pretty respectful. I've only had 2 appointments, but she's respected me as a trans person. Well, today, as I was checking out for my appointment, I was standing right there in front of her, and she starts talking to the woman that's the nurse that's checking me out, and she misgendered me right in front of me. I didn't say anything because it was 10 o'clock in the morning. That's
Okay, no, I guess I got it wrong. Anyway, I just thought I thought that was the point, but if you're gonna make people play make pretend,
Right.
if you're gonna force adults to play make pretend,
Especially people who do actually know what's under.
right? If you're gonna force people to
There.
play make pretend and play your game, then maybe give them a little bit of slack. Maybe they're already humoring you.
Right.
You know,
The whole thing is humoring you. Everything
At some
about
point,
this.
this doctor has to convey the truth and a little bit of scientific facts to the nurse. They need to have an honest conversation. And just because it's in within earshot of you who's playing make pretend, maybe you just get one thing. You get to play make pretend, but you don't get to have 100% always compliance because the rest of us have to deal with reality.
Right. Especially your gynecologist has to deal with your biological reality. So they're pretty aware of, because they always use that. Like when you're like, you need to use the bathroom that's appropriate for you. They're like, well, who's going to check people's genitals at the bathroom? Like you literally just were lying there with this person checking your genitals. So they know if you're a boy or a girl. Okay. They already know,
Right.
It's not like a secret from them. They didn't assume something. It's not like you weren't passing. Like the gynecologist knows you're a woman. Sorry.
All right.
It might
Shall we
be
go?
hard for them to forget.
Should we go to the chat or not?
The chat or the barrel roll. What are we
Yep.
calling it today?
Hopefully, it won't come out too loud because I
We
can't
have-
really turn this down.
Okay, we have a few calls. I'll turn down on my end anyway if they come through loud.
Okay, here we go. Are you ready, Alice?
I'm ready.
Hey, Tom and Alice, this is Justin. It strikes me kind of funny that this Rosalind Adams lady is a woman who knows what she wants, and she wants Tom right in front of the spook light. All right, thanks. Bye.
Yeah, that was a point of contention last night with Alice.
You
who
like Rosalind?
had-
I don't care. You can go to the spook light with Rosalind. I hope you'll enjoy it.
That is not the relation I was looking for at the spook light.
Good, go for it.
Morning, guys. Tommy NH here. I was wondering if we could get an update on Tom's bicycle. Last I heard, Alice ran it over with a burnt out minivan.
Correct.
After Tom tried...
Also drunk, by the way.
That's not true.
Correct. That is correct.
No. Where is your bicycle, by the way?
Orange minivan. After Tom tried to go up a slight incline, became winded, and had to walk the bike along the side of the road. He became offended when a person in a pickup truck offered to drive him home because he didn't look well.
Correct. Have you been taking notes, Tommy? Wow, that is a complete and accurate assessment of the bike situation. So I was thinking about this today because our son got a bike for his birthday, and I just took the boys to the their Cub Scout bike rodeo that they had today.
Mm-hmm.
At which our oldest son had a great time. Our younger son, who's still learning to ride the bike, was very angry about the learning to ride a bike not going well. He was not pleased. But the other two boys had a really good time. And so I was thinking about, because I had just assembled his bike, I was thinking about how I was like a little annoyed that I like put so much time and effort into assembling your bike and like getting you different parts so it would fit you better, a special seat for your butt and like a special handlebars
right there, by the way,
special handlebars so they would be the right height for you and all this stuff, and you don't ride it anymore because you're like mad that one time someone asked if you were okay. Like I find that kind of I'm just a little annoyed about it. I need you to start riding your bike again. And your son wants to ride his bike with you. He's now way into riding his bike. He has a great bike that fits him perfectly now for his birthday. It's great. We're going to become the bike riding family this spring.
I can't live in a world where I have people passing me, then changing their plans for the day and turning around and then checking on me and then not believing me. And he said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "You sure?" I said, "Yes." I was just simply waiting there. Tommy's right. I was winded. There's no doubt about that. It's the hill is tough to get up. I'm also heavy as hell, and the bike is a frigging tank. So I can't be
worrying about... It has to be a tank to hold you, because this was the request when you requested a bike, that I put a lot of effort into researching and a lot of effort into assembling and the whole thing. I mean, I put a lot of time into this. I had to special order a helmet for your big head, honey.
I didn't give you permission to disclose all these medical failings. If I lose some weight with your help, maybe I'll try the bike again. Not on that road ever again, which is of course the only flat road in town at that point.
Hey, Tom and Alice. I was wondering if you ever heard of Nashville, Indiana. It's beautiful, lots of small shops. People get married there all the time, have their honeymoons, anniversaries. It's just beautiful, even during the fall. All right, thanks. Bye.
Nashville, Indiana. I have not heard of it whatsoever. I did used to work in Nashville, Tennessee, though, at the Grand Ole Opry. God, what a time that was.
Yeah, we've had lots of good suggestions of places to move, actually. It gets more and more tempting.
Check it out, Alice. Nashville, Indiana.
Indiana. We also were suggested, what was the place? I forget the place in South Carolina, on the coast of South Carolina, that we were suggested to. Somebody sent us a sort of island that you can go on a bridge to. That's Tybee Island, Georgia. That was beautiful. 60 degrees in February. Across the bridge, and in 20 minutes you're in historical Savannah, Georgia, with cobblestones everywhere. It's a beautiful place. You'd love it.
Is there a place where the people tend to be fatter?
I think the South might be a better bet for you there, possibly.
Nice.
Hey guys, Toast here. Well, Tom and Alice called me classy, but that just shows they don't know me very well.
She is Brahmin legacy. Talk about yacht funny, please.
But I want to speak to a more important
What else?
Her dad did take her to Hooters as a kid, so maybe that impacted her.
There's the eccentric trillionaire class that sometimes steps out in odd ways.
Important issue, which is burn bros and babes versus shatheads. I encourage and urge anyone who identifies as a babe or a bro, as opposed to a shathead, to buy some merch now.
Ooh.
Down with shatheads. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much. I like that. That's no. Well, I'm for the buying it part. Certainly.
Are you pro shathead though?
I can't go against the shatheads. I can't.
Hey, Tom and Alice, I was wondering if you ever heard of the band Sparks. I discovered them through a documentary called Sparks Brothers. They've got quite a humor to them. All right, thanks. Bye.
I'll check it out. Sparks. No, although I did find a one-hit wonder in 1997 called Catatonia, which is a band from, I believe they're from Wales or Scotland, and she's got a harsh and beautiful. Did I ever play you Catatonia, Alice?
I don't think so.
Oh, listen to this accent. I think they're a song called Road Rage, and she's got this harsh accent. It's so wonderful. It's a great song too. It should have been a hit.
Curbside,
It was on BC at once. Just play the song.
If all you've got to do today is find peace of mind.
Now hang on, it's gonna get good.
Okay, I'm listening.
Come round, you can take a piece of mind.
They're from Wales.
And if all you've got to do,
Listen to you'll hear it in the chorus. This harsh Welsh accent is fantastic.
come here, you can leave it late with me. You could be taking it easy on yourself. You should be making it easy on yourself.
Here we go.
'Cause you and I know it's all over the friends page. You give me road rage, racing
How you like that?
Mm.
Road Rage.
the best days. It's such a use, boy, you're driving me crazy. Thinking you may be losing your mind. If all and I know it's all over the friends page. You give me road rage.
Oh man, that accent. Come on. All right. But Sparks, we'll check into Sparks the
Okay.
next time around. All right, Alice, you ready? Let's see.
Oh, hey, Tom, this is the spook light. I was wondering when you and Russell were going to do it. Oh, it's so hot. Oh, yeah. Come on, man. Oh.
That's it.
First-
We're shutting down the phone lines.
I like
Done.
the spook light. The spook light. I was just thinking about Michael Wallace as I was driving in the highway. I can't. It's in my head so much. Thinking
Is
about
Michael Wallace all you think about?
today in the ride. I couldn't stop thinking about him and just like different parts of
Mother Road.
But he talks about, and they take those old Detroit sleds, you know, the caddies, the Thunderbirds, and they drive them, well, straight down the Mother Road. God, this is too much. I can't get it out of my head. I think it's fantastic. But no, I have not. There's no Rosalind. That does not exist. That is that is apocryphal, as
I
we
believe
say.
in Rosalind.
Hey, Tom and Alice, I'm just here to tell you that I don't believe the rumor about Kathy Carr and the pool boy or the gardener or the milkman.
I don't know what any of that means. I am here to condemn the copy of that message completely as dastardly. All right.
Hey, Tom and Alice. This is Bradford. I
Oh,
love the show. I love listening to it when I've got some alone time.
uh-oh.
But I wish Tom would stop using the Lord's name in vain when he says GD and JC. I cringe every time you do. Maybe you can just start bleeping it out like you bleep out some of the other stuff you bleep out.
I think
Thanks.
I would say, Bradford, that Alice Shattuck might agree with you.
That's true. I do agree. Thank you. Yes. Correct.
All right. Now, so I'll try to stop blaspheming, but I still can say the P word, right?
I mean, do you have to?
I like to swear, Alice. It's colorful. It's interesting imaging.
But sometimes then our kids swear, so that's no good.
They swear a lot too. And actually, the Anton,
love it.
The thing is that tells you there's a swearing problem in the house is that he's good at it.
They are all good at it because they've learned from the best. But unfortunately, I don't really like that.
I grew up.
One of your children, by the way, called me an effing pea brain today.
Which one? Oh no! Don't tell me which one. That's not
That's
good.
very bad, right? Thank you so much, everybody, for joining.
No, did he?
What?
He didn't say effing.
No, he said the whole word.
Well, they didn't get that from me because I don't call you pea brain. I don't call you stupid. That's not my. That's not my thing.
But you do call some people that.
I call people stupid.
You call people tiny brains.
Yes,
Small
but
brains.
nobody in the house.
Well, yeah, but they hear the words from you, and then they are able to apply them to other situations. Then that they deem worthy.
We need to help them use it in the right context so that they don't.
No. We need to remove that from the vocabulary of the household.
Incorrect.
Anyway, thank you for joining us. You can talk to us on Twitter at BurberalPod. If you want to leave us a voice message on the chat or the barrel roll, if you will, that is at burnbarrelpodcast.com. You can also email us burnbarrelpodcast@gmail.com. I don't know if I have time or not or what, because I can't hear any music.
You got plenty of time, Alice. Keep going.
C'est la vie.
Or not.
I'm done.
See ya.
Let me ask you about student loan cancellation.
All right, when you're at home.